Hey, what are we going to learn today? I am so glad you're here. Today we are going to be talking about viruses. In case you live underneath a rock, viruses are kind of why school just isn't the same it is right now because of it. What we have going on right now in the world is COVID. And what COVID is a virus. And it's really cool as your biology teacher that I get to talk about this interesting thing to you. So viruses, they're all over the world, but what makes viruses different is that viruses need a host in order to replicate. Viruses have to attach to something in order to make more viruses or to be harmful. So if HIV were to be laying on a desk right now, it wouldn't harm you unless it were to attach to your skin, just like COVID. COVID is harmless until it actually attaches to you and your mucous membrane, which then makes you sick. Okay, so viruses, here in my picture, you'll see some viruses right here. Viruses, what they look like is they have a capsid, which is a structure that holds genetic information inside. So remember when I said viruses have to have a host? And this is the reason why. So inside a virus, there's a genetic material. It could either be DNA or RNA. You will never see a virus that has both. It's either one or the other. So these are the instructions for viral reproduction. Remember, when a virus attaches to the host, it wants to make more viruses. So these are the codes to make more. So here's what DNA looks like. DNA is a double helix. So some viruses will have DNA in them, or some virus will have RNA. In case you aren't aware, like HIV has RNA. That's why it's called a retrovirus. Okay, because it's cool. Just joking. Okay, and then viruses are made of capsids, which are a protein shield that protects the virus. Believe it or not, when we spray to disinfect COVID, we are actually killing the capsid that holds the genetic information. If we pop the balloon is useless. So a capsid could look like two different ways. It could look like a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. It could also look like this right down here, like a helicase. And then inside would be your DNA. Okay, so surface projections, these are key. So these are the glycospikes that allow the virus to attach to the host. It's a lock and key. So these surface projections only have a specific target. If you don't have that target, it cannot hurt you. This is a reason why we are wearing masks, because COVID is actually attaches to the surface membrane of your mucous membrane versus your stomach. If you ingest COVID, you're not going to get sick. But if you were to breathe it in, that would make you sick because it would attach to your host cells. So these are the receptors on the outside of the virus that actually attaches to your cells. You know what's really cool is HIV, human influenza virus, which could lead to AIDS, actually has surface proteins called CD4, and there is a group of individuals, Asian descent, who actually have a mutated surface protein right here. So if they were to get HIV, they wouldn't get it because the virus couldn't attach to their cells to replicate. So it's really cool. All right? An envelope is the outer membrane that surrounds the virus. So here we have our capsid. I'm just going to keep drawing our go-to. But sometimes they will have an envelope, which is an extra layer of protection that will protect it from the outside, such as like disinfectants, light, UV light, anything that could cause harm. So So types of viruses. Here are the type of viruses that we will see. And remember, in order for a virus to replicate, it has to attach to a host. So viruses technically aren't considered living because they cannot reproduce on their own unless they have somewhere else to attach to. So viruses die really easily unless they find a host to replicate in. But a lot of times when we get sick, we like to say that it's either a virus or bacteria, and it's really important that you understand the difference. Viruses are examples of HIV, flu, cold, rhinovirus, mumps, measles, herpes, and rubella. Those are all viruses. When we talk about bacteria, staph throat, strep, tuberculosis, ear infections, botulism, E. coli, these are all bacteria. Viruses are different. They do make you sick. They can be pathogenic, but they are very different from bacteria. Bacteria do not need a host. They can easily get you sick, whereas a virus definitely needs a host. Alright? Only way to help prevent viruses are vaccines. That's why you hear such a big push right now. V for viruses, V for vaccine. Vaccines are the only way that we can prevent viral infections. Another thing is antivirals. Antivirals are like your Tamiflu, your Thermoflu. Those are Tamiflu. These are the type of things that you can take if you ever get a viral infection, like the flu. You will take antiviral. That's if they get it to you quick enough. Remember, once a virus enters your system, it attaches to your cell through these glycoproteins, and then it will start replicating very, very quickly. It's like a very fast machine. So once it gets inside your cells, they replicate very, very quickly. All right, viruses are non-living. Technically, they are non-living. They need a host in order to survive. They have to have a host. Big thing, guys. They have to have a host. All right, and bacteria, in order to prevent them or treat them, you can take antibiotics, whereas a virus, you cannot. So if you get a virus, you have to let your virus run its system unless you get antiviruses in time. Bacteria are living, they're biotic, they're living, whereas viruses are non-living. Alright guys, well, I hope this clarifies any misconceptions about your viruses. Have a good day.